admin stuff, the investments, etc.
Welcome, viewers, to the 19th edition of the Chlorophyll Podcast. We started to celebrate our 25th anniversary, but as I said, by popular demand, we continue. And today we have a guest, a veteran from an industry that we have never touched on before, hospitality. So we have Sanjay Sethi, somebody with over 37 years of experience, has spent more than a decade with the Taj, launched not one but two independent hotel brands, and carried a conglomerate of a portfolio of hotels under Chalet to a very successful IPO. Welcome, Sanjay. I
Thank you,
don't know
Karan.
anyone
Thank you for having
else
me.
who achieved so much in such a short time. In fact, I wanted to apologize. I think we should introduce Sanjay as Dr. Sanjay Sethi because he has a doctorate from the Manav Rachna Sansad. So, Dr. Sanjay Sethi, welcome to the podcast. Uh, I just wanted to say now that you've been from Taj as a single hotel to multi portfolio hotels to an independent hotel. What is your sense? How has the industry evolved over the past 37 years?
So, Karan, firstly, thank you for having me over. It's a pleasure being here. And you and I have associated with each other for over 20 years now.
Yes,
Um, Look, 37 years in the industry has clearly evolved at a pace which has been quite mind-boggling. We've been through various cycles, whether it was the geopolitical attacks, issues in New York or Mumbai, COVID, the GFC, and very recently the current geopolitical situation that we're facing. Um, and along with the global flattening out and then fragmentation, the hotel industry has gone through those challenges and the fire to come out much stronger. Clearly, post COVID, the sort of response that we've seen to travel and hospitality has been quite phenomenal. A lot of people during COVID actually started writing off the hotel business, especially the
oh,
business hotel business. And I think they were all proven wrong. It's a very resilient industry. It's moved at a fast pace. I think as far as the key elements of changes are concerned is that we got a lot more corporatized in India, a lot more professionalized in India. And from a customer or guest perspective, I think we've moved from a transaction led business to an emotion led business. And it's all about personalization versus standardization. Um, and of course, curating experiences. When you and I sat for launching the brand of Keys Hotels, we were at that time talking about the millennial way of looking at things. And at
right.
millennials, for the positioning that we had at Keys, was quickly becoming the primary target audience. And I think our thought processes then were that the aspirational nature. So a budget hotel will not do. We got to do more than budget. It has to be a design-led product and an experience, and F&B will be an important part of it. And
Right.
hence, if you recall, our tagline then for Keys was spaces to work, places to play. And we
Yes.
were able to execute that very well and built a brand which then became quite popular and was ultimately bought out by Lemon Tree Hotels. Um,
Hmm.
so the primary change has been how the consumers or customers look at travel and hospitality. Very experience focused. You know, early on, people would say, "Okay, listen, I want to go to this destination. Now let me start looking for hotels." What's changed is now they're saying, "Listen, what's a great hotel that I'd like to experience?" And then they decide, okay, where they
Wow.
need to travel to. So that's a fundamental change, and that's for leisure and cultural travel. On business travel, of course, with the domestic markets just going so strong, and the domestic demand going so strong, with the Shining India story, we've grown at leaps and bounds on the business travel front. So
Mhm.
currently at Chalet, where we have big box, big city hotels as the primary product, 90% of our hotels lie in that category. Um, we're just doing extremely well there.
Mm. So, Sanjay, fundamentally, though, and you
Mhm,
have a ringside seat to this entire industry, as a category, as a service category, it's unique because so much of this customization that you speak about is not just product, it is the person, right? The
mhm.
human being who interacts with the guests, right? So what are the things that go into this mix? How does a person like you guarantee this interaction, the quality of interaction, the experience through people whom you have to train, obviously?
Great question, Kiran. So look, I think it's first about knowing your customer or your guest well. And if you don't study that well enough, you can get it very wrong. So I think our journey always begins with who our customer or our guest is, and creating a customer value proposition that sort of resonates with that specific guest. Um, and because hotels are very location led businesses, where if you get the location wrong, it can go very wrong. If you get the location right, it can be good for life.
Correct.
So first thing, of course, is where which category that you want to be in, then the location, and then having identified the category and the location, you sort of look at who your ideal customer for that property is going to be, and then you design your product, your services, you curate the experiences around that guest to create a compelling customer value proposition. And I think that hasn't changed. It's been consistent for decades, and people know about it. It's how well you execute that
Hmm.
makes the difference between a successful hotel company and a not so
Hmm.
successful one.
Hmm. But this entire notion of training, there is that famous
Mhm,
Ritz Carlton thing about ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. So when you are doing, I'm jumping the gun, but when you are
mhm.
talking about everyday joy at Athiva, so how does one train those people? Because uh,
So interesting
we-
fact I'll share with you. So we are
Hmm.
very people in. So we are intensive on two or three fronts. We are capital intensive and we are people intensive, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
investment intensive and people intensive. So we're job intensive also. Uh, Now it's a wide pyramid at the bottom,
Okay,
and whether you look at it positively or negative, it is the lowest part of the pyramid that engages the most with the guests or customers of the industry. And because they come at entry level positions, very often they don't come with the background of people who use hotels regularly as a part of their lives.
correct.
So you need to sort of get a cultural match in terms of how a young person will foresee this job or look at this job, and it's it's aligning the lowest level of the organization with a guest who comes from a very high profile background, and how the two can engage efficiently in a way where the guests see value is a lot of hard work. It boils down to things like soft skills, communication skills, grooming skills at the base level. And then you get into the technicalities, which is your own brand standards and SOPs that you got to follow. Uh,
Fantastic.
what personally I don't like is I don't like SOPing the business too much. I would rather empower my associate who works on the shop floor to take decisions on the go, with of course adequate training and then empowerment to do the right thing when he or she is faced with a guest request. Our view or my view on this has always been consistent. That look, um, we have the Sanskrit phrase "Atiti Dev Bhava,"
Hmm.
and from our perspective, Our job is to find solutions for our guests. We are solution finders. And therefore, you need to think on your feet when the guest puts a request. The answer up front should never be no. The answer up front should be, even if you never not, don't have that as a facility or a product offering, the answer should be, I don't have it right now, but allow me to give it a shot. And then work really hard at making it work. As long as the request is morally and legally sound, we encourage our associates to try and deliver that to our guests. I think the other
Mhm.
thing I want to say here, Kiran, we are blessed in India with our own culture that we have
Yes,
of being very strong on the hospitality front at our homes. And
yes,
I tell a lot of the young people who join in the industry, I say, think of it like you're a guest coming home to your house.
yes,
Uh, you do invite them at some point of time to come and stay with you. Once they're staying with you, are booked. Once they're ready to come, you actually get their details, how you're going to arrive. You go and receive them at the station or the airport. Before they come in, you prep the room up to make sure
correct,
everything is in order. All that is
correct,
done in the hotels too as a pre-arrival stuff. Then you receive them, give them a warm welcome, bring them home, give them a drink, a warm welcome, cold, a welcome drink, cold or hot at that point of time, which is the welcome drinks that we do at hotels. At that
correct.
point of time, you seat them, make them comfortable, show them to their room, ask them if there's everything that they need is there, and then look forward to them freshening up and coming for lunch or dinner. And that's what we do at hotels. Before they've
Mm.
come in, we've already identified what are they likely to like in their food and beverages. We do menu planning as per what we think our guests will like. And this is exactly what's done in hotels. I'm going to cut the
Fabulous.
story short, but before they retire for the night, you go and check if everything's okay. Make sure the towels, the soaps, and shampoos are all in place. The room is comfortable, the bed's laid out well, and you wish them a good night. And next morning, you wake up and give them breakfast. And they're leaving that day, you give them a fond farewell and tell them you
Yes.
look forward to having them back. Now, none of it is different from what we do at hotels. If you were to simplify hospitality of a hotel, the basic operations of a hotel, it's very much like what we do with our friends and family when they come home in a more
Oh,
refined way, with the communications a little more refined. But that's what is at the core and the heart of hospitality in India.
and there we have a cultural advantage, is what you're saying. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So that's very very insightful. Sanjay, so 17 years with the Taj, then I think
14,
my most
actually.
14. My most memorable encounter with you was when you said, Kiran, I'm launching a hotel with Berggruen. And for some reason, I landed up in New York that very year or month. And I was in the New York MoMA and the Museum of Modern Art. And I saw one entire section which said Berggruen Gallery. And it had all the big Picassos. And I was stunned by what you are doing, that you are going to
Mhm.
partner with such a family and create a hotel for India. How was that experience with that family?
Exceptional experience working with Nicholas in 2006 onwards. Look, Nicholas was a global investor,
Okay.
Nicholas Berggren. Um, he had at that point of time, I think, businesses or investments in 20 odd countries.
Wow.
And at that time, he was known as the homeless billionaire. He didn't own a house. So he would travel the world, look after his businesses. He didn't own a car, he didn't own a house, never married at that point of time, no children. So he used to stay off in hotels all the time, and he saw India as a big opportunity. He decided to go big on India, and the businesses that he ended up investing in was hospitality with me. They did a car rental business, they did a real estate business, they did an education business, and a couple of other smaller businesses. But I think overall, the value that he brought to the table for someone like me, who was at that time in the 40s, was a global perspective, a global network of people that he knew, because we went, or rather, tried to go beyond India at one point of time. We looked at the MENA region, we looked at Sri Lanka and Maldives, all
Oh,
through his connects. It's just that we started exploring this in 2008, just before the GFC. And when the GFC hit, we decided that we're going to stay focused on India. which
Yeah.
had a very strong growth story ahead, and not dilute our attention beyond India for now. So we've sort of refocused back into India at that point of time. But Nicholas brought on board a very strong global perspective. I, of course, was able to translate his vision of investing in India into the sector that we should invest in, and then how to go about doing it. It's all about execution. I think the trick was in getting the right team together. We were very fortunate to get very good senior people to join us very early in the cycle,
Yeah.
and that allowed us to not only build and develop hotels, also to launch the brand and then go asset light after some time.
Mm, yeah. I remember that the insight we both had was this generation says work hard and play hard. And then you uh, created the hotel around that particular insight, right? So
Hence,
from one,
spaces to work, places to play. That was the
correct.
tagline.
So from that one hotel, then you suddenly were guiding a group, the Chalet group, which had not one, not two, but three brands of hotels. So how was and you led them to one of the most successful IPOs. So from one
Yes.
brand to managing three global brands, what was the shift? What are the things that you learned or experienced?
So look, Keys was a 360-degree business in the sense that we owned assets, we operated our assets, we had a brand, and we managed assets for others also.
Correct.
So it
Correct.
had all the elements of hospitality. Chalet, when I joined in January of 2015, had about four hotels at that point in time, four plus one, which is outside the group, outside Chalet. Um, but we had expansion plans. So we moved, when I joined, we were roughly around, I think, 1,500 odd rooms, or maybe even less, 1,200 odd rooms. Today we are 3,400 odd rooms, another 2,000 under development. Um, I think our intrinsic market value would at that time would have been roughly around 2,000, 2,500 crores. Today, after the slump that we've had in the last few weeks, it's still at 16,000 crores.
Wow.
Um, but we were at 22,000 crores just a few months back. So we did create value over the years. Um, was there from 2015 till October of 2017, when I left Chalet very briefly for 4 months to go to ITC as the incumbent CEO there. But then the promoter family at Chalet, the Rahejas, reached out to me and said, "Look, we want to go public, but we decided we'll go public if you come back." I think
Wonderful.
that was a that is, what should I say, such a great responsibility and value that they placed on me that I couldn't say no. So I did come back with a goal to take the company public. This was in February of 2018, and February of 2019 we were listed on the Indian stock exchanges. Um, it was a great IPO because for 5 months there had been no IPO, not just a hospitality IPO, but there'd been
Wow.
no IPO period of any size, and we were a little nervous at that point of time. But we went ahead, and I think it did well. Of course, a year later, COVID hit, so tough times for the next 4 to 6 quarters. But then we've done very well. Just to give you a
Yep.
reference, I think we listed at 280 rupees a share. We went down to 100 rupees during COVID.
My God.
Today we are trading at 700 and something, but we were at
Wow.
1100 and something a few months back. Um, so
Stunning.
yeah, there's been value creation which has been immense. We have 11 operating hotels. We have six or seven under development today. So there's a lot happening. We've also, and I don't know whether you know this, Kiran, in 2018 when I came back and when I started what the investors wanted out of us if we were to go public, or what they did not like about hospitality, because there was not too many investment in hospitality
Correct. Correct.
till we came in and did the IPO, um, was that they found the industry cyclical and they didn't like the cyclicality and the risk that associates with that. So we said, okay, listen, how can we convert this into an advantage for
That's
Chalet?
right.
Um, so we said we are sitting on real estate assets which are underutilized. For example, the Powai Hotel, which is already 777 rooms, was a very large inventory hotel. If I could have added another 700 rooms, but then that would have been shooting ourselves in the foot by oversupplying that market. So we decided that why don't we just expand into a new asset class, which is the office asset class. So we decided to build complementary assets on the same location as hotels. So we now
Oh,
have offices at Powai, at Sahar with the JW Marriott. So Westin Powai, JW Marriott Sahar, and the Marriott Bangalore all have office assets attached to them, currently 2.4 million square feet, another million under development. Now, what this did for us was we brought in an annuity asset class, which
correct.
countered the cyclicality risk of hospitality. And also, we managed to sweat the real estate that was there. So the land was free, it was already paid for. So the office rentals business that we moved into will throw up very strong IRRs because your baseline cost of real estate acquisition is not there. It's just the construction cost. So
Beautiful.
that combined with the hospitality business, which is growing very rapidly, has become a pretty potent combination for Chalet Hotels and has clearly become a benchmark for others to follow.
Superb. Very, very insightful. And then suddenly, again, we were very happy to come back to you, and you said, I'm actually going to launch a new brand by myself. And you ended up naming it yourself, Athiva. What was it meant for? Why a new brand? And it's currently looking gorgeous. Next month, I plan to go and stay there in Khandala,
Mhm.
in Kolkata.
That's
So
really come out very well. Yeah.
yes,
So Kiran, there was always a conversation back at Chalet that should we have our own brand?
okay,
We were till then, partnering with external brands, largely global brands, but we were brand agnostic in the sense we worked with Starwood and Marriott at one point of time. When Marriott bought out Starwood, we signed up hotels with Hyatt, Taj, and Accor. So we were brand agnostic to this in the sense that whichever brand fit that particular product and location best,
correct.
we would go with that brand, which was a very pretty space to be in because you had the choice of probably 500 brands globally to choose from. And there was a small cost to pay as fees to them. But then what happened was over the years, we started running some of hotels under their brand. So we
Hmm.
converted management contracts to franchises. And we said that, look, if we're going to run them ourselves, is there an opportunity of value creation and creating a brand of our own? Um, and we said, look, it's not going to be an immediate value creator. It may take a few years, but you've got to start at some point of time. And so we said, let's start with internal consumption for a new brand.
Okay,
And then later on, maybe it could become a springboard for an asset light vertical at some point of time, maybe not immediately. And when we were looking at this brand, we said, look, we will largely be in position in the upper upscale and luxury space and within the
right.
Chalet portfolio. So we would like to continue with that upper upscale positioning. That's where the brand we wanted to locate. And when we reached out to you, we said, look, we'd like it to have an Indian connotation,
Yes,
and but we want it on three or four pillars. The three primary pillars being, of course, wellness, joy, and sustainability as the three pillars that we want to work. And joy was central because we're, with millennials and Gen Zs being the primary target audience very soon, our studies indicated that the experiential stay that they are looking for has joy as a strong connotation. And
yes,
joy can mean different things to different people. And it can come out of different experiences, whether it's culinary, whether it's just a great room or great views. It could just be experiences whilst you are spending time on the property. You know, those sitting by the poolside in the sun and it's warm and someone brings a nicely chilled a slice of watermelon to you and
yeah.
and just gives it to you. These are small things that make a lot of difference. And so we wanted joy to be central to what we are offering and joyful experiences around the corner every time that you turn the corner. So this is
Mm,
how we were looking at it. And we needed to be consistent for resorts and for business hotels. So
correct.
Ativa as a brand will cross over between these two products, leisure and business travel. Um, and we're excited because we already got 6 hotels that are planned as Athivas. One is already there and operating, 5 more under development. We hope to add another 2, 3 very soon.
Yes, Just taking a moment out for viewers, please ask your questions in the comment section so that at the end of this talk, we Sanjay can answer your questions. Sanjay, in fact, I there was one aha moment for me when you said, Kiran, this hotel that we are making, we may not even have tables and chairs because it's for a generation which sits on bean bags. I thought that was quite unforgettable. So that's Athiva. There is something very heartwarming you did, Sanjay, during the lockdown. It was called the Give Back Project. I have not heard anybody else do such a magnanimous thing. You want to talk about the Give Back Project?
So, Kiran, what happened was that during the COVID period, we were working from home to begin with, but then I started going out very quickly because my teams were working. So I got those special passes and would go to one hotel and spend time at one hotel every day, even during the peak of the first wave. One of the things that I realized was a lot of people were going through different kinds of trauma in our industry. Some people lost jobs. Some people who had just finished college were not getting jobs. Some people were just having emotional breakdowns because of the situation that everyone was facing. And I said, look, I might have some time on hand, especially on weekends. Why don't I lend my time, my years, and my attention to young hospitality professionals, whether they are people who are working in hotels or people who are entrepreneurs looking for opportunities to do something in the hospitality space, to be a sounding board. And I don't claim to be more than that, right?
Oh,
To
no.
be a sounding board, it will give them advice when I can. And this was all done pro bono, of course. I The whole idea was to engage and help people out. I mean, I joked, I can be a agony aunt of hotels, right? That you can reach out to because you're having a problem with your boss. I'll be happy to hear you out and maybe give you some advice on how to handle a difficult boss. I mean, I was ready to take on, you know, such situations also and give advice. That ranging up to someone setting up a new business and helping them with their business model. So it ranged from, it was as wide a range as that. And over the years, I think I've had the good fortune of meeting some wonderful people, um, some wonderful ideas as people launched new businesses. And I helped quite a few startups with my thought processes. Some of them are doing extremely well. Um, and I'm very proud of what they've done, what they've achieved. Uh, and I hope that some of my contribution helped.
And you continue to do that pro bono, right? Throughout those.
It continues to be pro bono as far as this is concerned. Of course, now as I retired from Chalet, from the executive role. I stay on the board of Chalet Hotels. Um, the way I see myself going forward is, besides the Give Back project, take on 2 or 3 board roles to keep myself engaged and busy because I need to keep active, and maybe 1 or 2 advisory roles. But my commitment to myself remains very strong, that I will spend more time with friends and family. I will spend more time on travel and exploring the world than I've ever done before. And that's where my priorities will be. I plan not to spend more than 4 or 5 days a month at work.
At
The
work.
rest of
Oh,
it, yeah, the rest of it has to be for friends, family, travel, and experiences for myself.
wonderful. So just give us some tips about where you would
Mhm.
like to travel.
I mentally I was thinking Bharat Darshan first. So yeah, I do want to
Beautiful.
cover areas of India which I haven't covered, and I've always wanted to cover. I think the Northeast is something that I want to cover extensively. It'll
Yes.
take probably 2 or 3 visits. It won't be done in one trip. The islands, the Andamans, and the others that we have. I want to cover all of those. I also want to travel back to the 11 cities that we worked at. So Rachna, my
Yes.
wife and I, we've worked in 11 different cities across India. And we have friends, in those areas, friends and colleagues who are still there. So we want to go back, reconnect with some of them, relive some of those memories that were there. And then there's the family part who are all across the country. I want to go to the cities, spend time with them. This is something that one regret that I have is in the 37 years, I did prioritize work so much that I got disconnected with friends. and many of the family big occasions, the families like family I couldn't attend. So I
Hmm.
want to reconnect with all of them, and that's important to me right now.
Yes, that's fantastic. Any questions here? Let
May
us
I
say,
add one more thing I want to do globally? Also, I want to travel and see a few places. But I've also got something else at the back of my mind, which is when Indian cricket team travels to some of these interesting destinations, New Zealand, for example, I'm going to follow the Indian cricket team there.
that is fantastic. Correct. So, yes, is there something that the sector can borrow from households of India, the land known for its hospitality? You answered this to some extent, but is there anything more that it can borrow from
Yeah,
the
this comes
homes?
from a gentleman called Kostab. Yeah, yes, Kostab. I mean, Indian, traditional Indian warm hospitality is at the core of the way we live. And I think for us, hospitality comes naturally. It's just the question of translating that what we have as intrinsic DNAs into a professional way of executing at hotels. We Indians are very fond of food, and we're very diverse food, right? And
Yes.
we should find ways of bringing the unknown cuisines of India to the fore. First, to begin with, for the Indian traveler consumption, and then global consumption.
Super. Yes. Any other questions right now? Or, okay, just wait a moment. Okay. So, Sanjay, I have thanked you in private many times over for giving us the opportunity to work on not one but two totally new brands in hospitality. I don't think too many consultancies get that opportunity. It has been a fabulous experience. Now I have the opportunity to thank you publicly. So, two thank yous to you, and one big thank you to the audience. And we will be looking for you in the at the stadiums where the Indian cricket team is. Thank you very much.
Please do. Thank you so much, Karan. It's been a pleasure working with you, and look forward to
Yes,
staying connected.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.